This film is about the life cycle of a moss. And I'm going to start by drawing a moss, the green mosses we see out in nature. So you have a shoot with leaves. I'm actually going to draw two different shoots with leaves. If we go close into detail in the top here, we will find small, really tiny microscopic structures, some kind of containers with something in it. At another place, we find other kinds of containers, structures that are more flask shaped and with something in it. So what is it we're looking at here? So these dots, they are sperm cells, these tiny dots. And this dot in here is an egg cell. An egg and sperm, they are haploid cells, which means that they have a single set of chromosomes. And we usually write that as they having N, a single set of chromosomes. So I'm using the red pen, which implies that the structure is haploid, a single set of chromosomes. And so the green thing we see out in nature, the mosses, they are also haploid. The cells have a single set of chromosomes. One name of, instead of saying egg and sperm, one can call these sex cells for gametes. So a gamete could be either a sperm or an egg. We call these structures, the shoots and the leaves, we call them gametophytes. One gametophyte. Phyte stems from a Greek word meaning plant. A gamete is obviously the sex cells. So the green things we see out in nature are the plants carrying the gametes, the sex cells, the sperms and eggs. If we look at this structure after a while, it will have been being more developed, and it will open up and we will have the egg cell in here. This structure with the egg open and closed, the flask-shaped structure, is called an archegonium. And this round structure, including the sperm, is called an antheridium. So when the archegonium on top here is mature, we have an egg cell here, and when the antheridium and the sperms here are mature enough, the sperms will be released, and they will, this is a really schematic drawing of a sperm cell, it's not really how they look like, but they will be released, and they will swim in water, small thin film of water, a short distance to the egg in the archegonium. What happens then is that we get a fertilization. And inside the archegonium, we now have a diploid cell. So blue stands for diploid, which means a double set of chromosomes in the cell. This first diploid cell that is the result of the fertilization is called a zygote. And then we call it diploid by writing 2 N's like this. After a while, we are still on top of the gametophyte here. We see that the zygote goes through cell division and we get a small structured base, including many cells. This is what is called an embryo. So it's a new individual, diploid, that is still protected within the mother plant. We're up here. This structure will continue growing, and if we zoom out again back to the green plants we see in nature, the green moss plants, we are now here, and this embryo is continuing growing, producing kind of a stalk and a new container. This whole structure is called a sporophyte. And over here we have the phyte, the plant, carrying sex cells, gametes. Here we have the plant carrying the spores. The spores are being produced in here, in this container. So we have meiosis in here, producing haploid cells, which are the spores. And they're haploid. And then the sporophyte is diploid. Then the spores are being released. This is the ground. The haploid spores are being released by air, in the air, falls down on the ground and starts growing and will eventually turn into new gametophytes. I said that these structures are called archegonia and antheridia. If we want to use a common name for these two, they're called gametangia, one gametangium. So it's either an antheridium or a archegonium. So angium is stemming from a Greek word called kind of meaning container or vessel, and gamete is the sex cells. So this is the container including the gametes, antheridia and archegonia. This container here, the blue one, the diploid one, on top of the sporophyte, is called a sporangium. So it's the same idea. Angium comes from the Greek word meaning vessel or container, and spore is the spore. So it's the container including the spores. So gametangia and sporangia. So here we have the cycle of a moth, and we're going from the haploid gametophytes to the diploid sporophyte. And in the mosses, the sporophyte is depending on the gametophyte. It lives on the gametophyte. It cannot live by itself. But we're talking about two generations. We're talking about the gametophyte, which is considered one multicellular generation, and we're talking about the sporophyte, which is another multicellular generation. This one is diploid and this one is haploid. And this going between the different generations like this, two different generations, that's not unique to mosses, but we see it in all the different land plant lineages, such as all the flowering plants, all the ferns, etc. The structures will look different, but we will see the same change going from gametophyte to the sporophyte and back.